welcome to episode 2 of Subject to Pod. My name is Chelsea Watkins.
My name is Vincent Herman.
And I'm Fresh.
A.K.A. Beef, A.K.A. Adam.
And today's topic is on nostalgic TV shows and movies and the trend of reviving them through reboots and sequels. Well, what I first want to start with is if any... I hate this one.
So for those listening later, this is the second time we're recording. We had crazy audio issues.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the main focus of my entire day tomorrow. So
Don't
But
worry.
he's putting
though.
on himself because he could ask for help.
Don't worry though. We'll get it fixed eventually.
someday.
Okay, so
That's
I
a
want
subject to
to
change.
start off with, I would like everyone to share their favorite TV show or movie that gives them a sense of nostalgia, holds a special place for them, and why, please. Vinny, would you like to start?
Yes. My standout. I've got two standouts actually. Mostly because of the way they kind of like entered into my life, but also because of the I think standard of quality that they maintain to this day. But the first one being that '70s show. That is, with the messy stuff surrounding it these days, the Laura Prepon and Danny Masterson of it all, notwithstanding, it is still a solid show. I stand by the writing, I stand by the storytelling. I think it's a very relatable show, too. They kind of have a character for everybody. Oh, God. Oh, damn it. I just remember the show's also kind of a little racist. But, again, I still think it's a solid show. But it was also a show that was like a big focal point in my life at a certain point in time when I was with a very influential in my life and journey in general. X were together. Like, this is a show that like we bought every DVD of, and like it was always on in the background. It was like our sound machine as we slept for quite a while. So like I know every episode of the show. So like the back of my hand. And I think it's still a solid show today. But the other show is Roseanne as well.
That's a good one.
Roseanne is like, again, kind of fraught with like some kind of politically incorrect haze now, but again, the show itself, and at the time us not knowing these things about these people, it's a solid show, very, very common man's show, and myself growing up poor, and I think I speak for everyone on this panel, we all grew up poor. It was kind of our sitcom. Like, it had humor based on, like, experiences that, like, our parents were going through and that, like, tangentially we were going through. And then you watch it when you get older and, like, the humor is all new because, like, now you understand more about how bills work and how insurance works and trying to find a job and all that type of stuff. And both of these shows will actually lend themselves to later topics, later portions of this topic as well. But those are the two big standouts for me. And I could say things like, Batman the animated series and all that stuff. And like, while these are nostalgic for me, they're mostly just like, all the Batman, fucking still amazing writing to this day.
Absolutely.
But when I think about the Ninja Turtles, Adam's having a whole moment over there. It's a lot of visual gags that you'll see if you sign up on Patreon. But, Ninja Turtles. I absolutely love that cartoon. Yeah. It's incredibly nostalgic for me, and it's had so many iterations over the years, but not a solid show, not a very good show. So I don't really pull from the pantheon of cartoons that I grew up with. Because there's not many I would, like, regularly watch today. Yeah. But, like, those sitcoms, they do continue to cycle on my television.
So what about you, Adam?
Really the biggest two for me would be those sitcoms, especially the ones that were in like the early 2000s or early to mid 2000s on like TBS and USA, like Monk, Pushing Daisies, which is an insane concept for a show. With, if you're not familiar, there's the main character. He's able to revive things from death by touching them, but if he touches them again, they die, which is an insane fucking concept.
Especially when you put a love into that.
I know that's what makes it. I love that because the stakes are so high. Like,
which they explore that in the show. But yeah, shows like that. What was the other one? Raising Hope. Raising Hope. Like any sort of that 2000s style, like My Name is Earl. Like,
My Name is
Earl. I just love the way that those are shot too.
Yeah.
Because it's not the traditional sitcom, like audience laugh track. It's like, it's like you're watching a day in the life. And then another one that was really big for me was, it's especially due to just memories and stuff, is Cheers. Because as a kid, I got to go to like the replica Cheers bar, and that was like the last time that our parents, or my parents, were really, or my entire family was really still like together. And it also, I also got into it. Like I had just been to the bar like as a kid, and I thought, oh, cool. But then I actually watched the show as I was deep in alcoholism, and I was like, man, I'm fucking sad. Like, so it was that weird kind of like, you get transported, you feel nostalgic for a thing that you haven't been able to live to experience. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It
like,
really does.
That does make a lot. I always think like, man, I miss the 80s. I was born in 88.
Yeah.
I did the same thing with the 90s, though. I'm like, I miss the 90s. And I was like, Chelsea, you were born in 90. Like, by the time that you really... Because I was watching 90s stuff and I was watching 80s stuff in the 90s.
I don't know, man. By the time you were 8, 9, 10 years old, there was some pretty good stuff in it.
Oh, yeah. Like, Are You Afraid of the Dark and all that? Like,
yeah.
I remember watching that at a young age. Like, Are You Afraid of the Dark? All the, like...
Yeah,
all that.
There's a lot of...
There's some really good ones.
Still a lot of good 90s for you to chew on at the end.
There was, but man, those beginning 90s were so good.
Oh, and one that just fucking popped into my head. Anything on Nickelodeon Guts. Like Legend of the Hidden Temple.
Yes.
Double Dare.
It's funny you said that too.
There was that. And then they also had... what was the... It was like a variety show.
You can either remember the name of it, or you can take the physical challenge.
Physical challenge. Give me the fucking physical challenge. No, there was...
So good.
There was... or Nickelodeon Blam, too.
Blam.
Blam
I
is
forgot
so
about Blam.
Yeah, Nickelodeon Blam with
There's some weird stuff on
I loved it.
With like all the action figures and stuff.
Claymation, all that. I loved all
it was,
of it.
yeah. And I see that and I'm like, I remember being homesick from school. Just watching that and being like out of my mind on like Sudafed or something. Because they didn't fucking control that shit back then.
I didn't care about then.
They're like, oh, you're 7 years old? Jake's so much cortisone, coughing cold.
And I promise I'll make this brief.
No, you're fine.
But sketch comedy shows.
Mad TV.
I should bring this up.
Yeah, Mad TV. Yeah.
Well, I mean, before Mad TV, because you were saying that, I was thinking of All That.
All That
was like the first one for me, and then then Mad TV started, and I'm a diehard lover of Mad TV, and like to this point where like anytime I see that Will Sasso's doing something, it's either on my list or I'm watching it immediately. Like I found out he had a podcast, 10-minute podcast. I immediately started listening to it, and I've heard it like 3 or 4 times all the way through. That's hundreds of episodes. He's doing a podcast called Dudesy. I listen to that.
We love Dudesy.
But and then but the funny thing is, I never really got into SNL as a kid, and I got more into it in
as
my
an adult. Yeah,
years,
same.
But I love.
Because I was too focused on Mad TV.
Yeah,
I
loved some sketch comedy. And does it show? Does it show? Since I'm constantly writing them.
And as a quick addition, whenever my parents first got divorced, and I like started spending time with my mom, she had Hulu, and all I watched was like classic SNL. Like I remember the best of Dana Carvey, the best of Mike Myers, the best
of broccoli, man, chopping broccoli.
Those,
the best of Phil Hartman.
Those
like
best of DVDs
they're
were
so good.
What started getting me into SNL because like obviously there's like a schoolyard conversation like. References get thrown around a bunch and stuff, but I had never really, and there was no YouTube back in the day. What?
Maybe for you old fart.
We were born before Google, so chew on that, guys.
I wasn't.
But yeah, so like you couldn't like really run and go watch those, and nobody was like recording every SNL.
Yeah.
My mom was apparently recording a whole bunch of crap. So
so those DVDs were my introduction to SNL, and that's when I was like, maybe I should check out a few episodes.
Yeah.
Now and again.
All right, well, I got
your
a couple.
turn. I'm sorry.
If I can.
Anyways.
Honestly, I'm sure the mic will explode now. Once I start talking. But the first one, and maybe my favorite, I think that my all-time favorite TV show is Twin Peaks. Mm-hmm. It was created in 1990, and it was something I grew up watching. There's 3 seasons of it, and then like a spin-off. Like it was still in the same realm, so I wouldn't necessarily call it a reboot or a remake. It was like things in the show that they said would happen, then happened, kind of thing, and it was Fire Walk with Me. So it's a mystery, it's a drama. There's a woman, Laura Palmer, who ends up dead, and in this town of Twin Peaks, and they got to find out. It's a whole thing, and I don't want to spoil it. You guys should go watch it, especially because there is a reboot coming out, and we'll do that too.
And that is one of those especially back in the day, is one of those things that made watching week to week so entertainment.
It was so exciting, and it was kind of
because everyone's all waiting for the.
Because I love X-Files and stuff like that too. It was like, who did it, and why did it, and I grew up with my grandma watching Matlock.
Oh, okay.
My grandma thought he was so handsome, old black grandma, love her death, rest in peace. But she thought he was just the best and had the southern charm and was always doing the best he could to defend the people. And so we used to watch that. So I loved the whodunits, so Sherlock Holmes and Nancy Drews. But Twin Peaks had some weird characters that I would say video game wise, Alan Wake was really based on. Because there was the log lady, the one with the log, and and then Alan Wake, there's a lady with the lights. So it's they took a lot of media has taken from that show. But I love it for its quirkiness, for its weirdness, for its lines, they were so clever. I mean,
Alan Wake and Heavy Rain too.
Oh
yeah, Heavy Rain. Plus, I like Twin Peaks. That was a lot of people's first delve into David Lynch.
Absolutely, and I am a huge David Lynch fan. I think that he is fantastic because he's one of those people that he's just this is what it is. It's not, he's not trying to do or trying to be anything, but he's just he just makes this show really great. I mean, there's even David Duchovny dressed as a woman in Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Technically he was a woman. His character is Denise, so he's a woman in that. You know what I mean? Things like that, in the 90s that transcended a lot of things, so it was cool. So that was my one. The second one I think would have to be Family Matters.
Yeah.
Not only do I obviously love Reginald L. Johnson so much, but also growing up, that was the kind of family that I wanted. And when my parents got divorced, I didn't really see my dad. So my dad's side of the family was kind of we were all broken from the start. Mm-hmm. So getting to see how amazing Carl Winslow was as the head of the house, and get to see how he took care of things and lessons. I was wow, this is what a real dad is. This is crazy. This is what a father is. Wow,
which is
neat.
one of the things, especially of our generation, a raised by TV generation, us and probably Gen X.
Especially I would say now maybe generation after generation
was
X.
that we were raised watching these shows that had these nice neat little packaged families and stuff. And because it's fed to you on a weekly basis, daily basis, you feel this is how it should be. When in
reality,
the adults that should be teaching you that that's not how life works
are the children.
are the children, leaving you to learn from the boob tube.
So yeah, he was definitely I know like Reginald Bell Johnson was definitely a big part of my childhood. Because also like it was nice to see a TV family that was African American for the most part, that was represented. Like I felt like I could be represented too. Like I was like, they're doing great. They get through their problems, and there's no like dumb things, and then the quirky Urkel, and we love it. Like we love it.
The Quirkle, if you will.
The Quirkle.
I loved his catchphrase. Oh, whoops! I think I might have done that.
oh, was that me?
Was that me?
Have I done that?
Have I done that?
Have I caught into
it?
That's so fucking stupid.
And then my last one would have to be Legend of the Hidden Temple, because every time I was sick, my aunt and I we'd lay down. Like she'd make me food, and we just lay down and we just watch it, and it brought me so that's that nostalgic like peace and like soothing when I wasn't feeling good. It was like a thing.
I have vivid memories of sitting there watching them do how they had that pole and like the 3 pieces of the album.
Yeah, you had to put it on.
Yeah, they were fucking idiots. It's 3 parts.
I have vivid memories of sitting there getting frustrated and going like, why is this hard for you?
It was my dream. It was my dream to be on it, because I was like, I could do that.
Yeah.
I could put the 3 things on.
Man, those
obviously
kids,
that one's the bottom. Yeah, I can put that on.
Those kids were freaking
yes,
stupid.
Yeah. Have you never seen the show
stupid
before?
Kids. Hashtag fuck the
Going off of comfort shows.
Yeah.
One of the weird ones for me, it's not a show but like movies, is Roy Rogers movies.
Yes.
Because there's a vivid memory of whenever I was in like 2nd or 3rd grade. It was 1st grade, and I would cry at school every day because I missed my mom, and I would make myself throw up.
Oh no.
Because I'd be like, if I'm sick, I get sent home. I get to see my mom.
That's true.
Well,
that makes sense.
then they started picking me up and taking me to my grandparents. And my dad was like, "Look, if you're gonna go to your papa's house, you're not allowed to watch TV, because he was thinking that I was just getting out so I could just stay at home and watch TV."
Right.
And
what do you mean?
I kind of was.
Fair. I mean.
And he went back to work one day, and I took a nap, and I went in, and I was sitting with my papa, and he was watching Roy Rogers movies.
Aha.
And so I was sitting there watching it, and my dad walks in to pick me up, and he's like, "I thought he said no TV," and I was like, "I'm watching Westerns." That was an excuse.
Don't worry, they're just Westerns.
I'm watching Papa's shows. It's not something I want to watch.
See, Matlock, man. I used to sit and eat pickled okra with my grandma and watch Matlock, and I was like, I don't understand.
PBS was like a company because there was like nothing really that interested me on. So if I was at home sick from school, it would be PBS. And so you got your Arthur, you got your Mr. Rogers, you got your Thomas the Tank.
We love
Franklin.
Franklin.
It ain't Texas.
I had a bunch of the books.
My nickname for my family is actually from Franklin.
Yeah.
They call me Turtle.
Little Bear was the one I was always like, Little Bears, come on.
Oh, Little Bears. So
I didn't like Little Bear for some reason, and I don't remember why, but I do remember being annoyed when Little Bear would come on. I'm like, all right, well, this is gonna be boring.
Did anyone ever watch the Bernstein Bears? Because they did have a TV show for a little bit.
I remember vaguely watching.
I think I remember seeing. I think I had some VHS tapes.
That's
that and Richard Scarry. I only saw those on VHS.
No, you're also a big fan of Where in the World was Carmen Sandiego. I was a really big fan of that.
See, that's one that missed me.
Oh, man. Oh.
Well, then again, I'm also almost 10 years younger than you guys.
Right now.
Hi, guys. I'm 25. Let's go around and say our age.
I'm 34 and I love it. I love myself and I'm proud of it, baby. I'm proud of it. I just turned 34/76. Let's get it.
Let's get it. Oldest is best.
Let's get it.
Oldest is best.
Middle is... I guess okay.
I'll live longest. I'll live longest.
Probably.
That's subjective.
Yeah.
Subject to change.
Subject to change. That is subject to change.
Family wink.
All right.
Okay. All right. Well.
What's our next point here, Chelsea?
I'm having a good time watching me pump my arms.
Yes.
Scream right now. Yeah. Right.
This is a good way because so we all talked about things that we loved, but like most of the things that we talked about either have reboots in the works, have remakes already, or
revivals came back, spiritual sequels.
So I kind of want to dig into it because in the beginning I was really much against it, like absolutely, like I don't care what the reason was, like I don't care. We don't need to reinvent the wheel.
You want to do that hand motion one more time?
I don't want to reinvent the wheel. And
follow us on
I'm allowed
Patreon
to
to see why.
I'm allowed to do anything I want. When you're rich, they let you do anything you want. You're rich, they let you go into the... No.
And since you're eventually going to be rich, you're just getting started now.
But no, like...
I'm just rich in training.
When I see a reboot or a remake, like, I either get... Or even a trailer for it, I get, like, I get three... Like, one of three different emotions. Either excitement, distrust, or just mild resentment.
Okay.
And guilt. Like, okay, I'm trying to think of a really good example. A really, really good example. I was weary about Jurassic World.
Okay.
Because I was like, why?
No, some people would argue that your leeriness would be would pay off because like a lot of people don't like those movies. I like the first one. I
didn't hate Jurassic
the
World.
Second one. I haven't seen the third one, but
I didn't hate Jurassic World, but I was like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
When Jurassic Park and all that, well, they were so great. Like, why do it? In my head, it was initially
the first one was great.
At least the first one.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on to your butts. Okay, it was the first one. So like that was always my issue, and I wanted to kind of dig into the reasons, maybe the reasons that we have the distrust for him, or like how we like different reboots and remakes that were successes, and then different ones that just kind of like didn't hit the mark.
Okay.
Because there was some that didn't hit the mark, but I also would say like a successful revival like Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
Was a really good thing.
Well, I know for
Doctor
me,
Who, really good thing.
For me, like generally, I either have two thoughts. I'm excited for it because it's something I'm already a fan of, and I'm like, I am a proponent. Is that because of the nostalgia? Like, what is it? Well,
why do you get excited for the like?
I'm a proponent of like more is more. I enjoy the idea. Like when a show ends. I've been there a Die Hard from the very beginning, and they stick the landing, of course. But you know that's too many weeds to get into right there. Like I'm legitimately bummed, and then you can always go back and rewatch. But it's like, where do these characters go? What do they do next? Like did they have kids? All these questions now that I'll never get the answer to until something comes back, and I get more of it. So if it's something that I was already a fan of, like the Karate Kid or that '70s show and stuff, and they say, hey, we're gonna give you more of these characters, like, or at least some of them.
Yeah.
I'm like, abso-fucking-lutely, bring it on.
See, now I'm on that boat too, but in the beginning I wasn't, but I realized, like, there were we've been doing this forever, and like Hollywood kind of like depends on our nostalgia to make these things.
This attitude only, like, these two modes that I'm speaking on here, they only really apply to revivals. Like,
yeah, like reboots or remakes. Is
well,
it the same thing?
Let's talk for a second about the classification of these terms and define what they mean for us, because everyone's got a different fucking opinion about like what the word reboot, revival, all this stuff mean. I think revival is pretty
is
obvious.
Same character.
Can we all agree that revival is like we are continuing the story from where we left off?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like
reboot.
Same people. Reboot is
what do we take that to mean? Let's go around the table and see what we take that to mean. Go ahead and start, Chelsea. Okay.
When it comes to a reboot, I think of it as either this is hard. Like, it's hard to like,
because there's another term here, remake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, a reboot I think of is like taking like the premise of it and making it new with like added effects or like different, maybe different actors and stuff, like taking out the things that like are dated to like reboot it so that it kind of fits a fresh, like a newer audience, but also like you can add more CGI effects. Or maybe they didn't have black people in that show at all because they didn't like that.
They didn't have black people back then.
They didn't. No. Listen, it was rough back then in Hollywood if you were black. I'm just gonna point that out. So like, there's a lot of times that there weren't. There's whole shows that weren't.
I'm not proud that I'm the one who said that.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be on audio. Anyways,
but well, for me,
that's what I think of it. It's like the same premise. Maybe a different, like Mandalorian, like how it's like.
Well, that's I think that's different.
Hey, would that be a remake?
We can get into that too. That's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Well, let's stick with the term reboot for right now.
Okay. I think that a reboot is like the way that whenever I hear, oh, they made a reboot of something, I think that means that they took the same IP and just explored a similar storyline in a different way.
Okay.
That's what I thought a revival.
See, I have
kind of like.
See, I have for a revival, like for
me,
it is
the
same characters, the same world. We're just continuing the stories.
For
me, what a reboot is it takes place within the same world. Like, let's go with Jurassic World here.
Right.
But while you have the possibility of like some of these characters maybe coming back or like running into them or something, our focus is now on a whole new set of characters, a whole new
like Fuller House.
No. That would be,
I'd say that's like a revival.
That's a revival.
Would that be a revival?
A continuation. Yeah. This is like whole new characters.
Yeah. I think of Doctor Who as a revival. I think of like.
Yeah. I'd say so.
Well, that's just a continuation.
Yeah, it's like I'd say
in the premise.
I'd say that the modern Doctor Who is a revival.
Okay.
Because
there was a female one.
Yeah, there was the like hard cut.
Yeah, there was.
But a reboot is like, all right, so in the world of Jurassic Park happened 20, 30 years ago. Now we're picking up here.
Also like the
we
Fallout.
got a whole new doctor. We've got a dinosaur trainer. You've never seen these characters before. This is a whole new park, a different
same universe.
Yeah, same universe though.
That's what I was kind of getting
Heroes
at.
Reborn, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because Charmed and then like Heroes Reborn was kind of based off like Baby Charmed, like witches.
Yeah.
Same universe.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Well, no. So, did that take place in the same universe?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was
same house.
I thought they were completely restarting, which brings us to the term remake.
Right.
This is when you were like, everything that happened before, fuck it, throw it out the window. We are redoing this. It's going to be, we're retelling the story in our own way. Yeah. So like Daredevil the movie, and then the Daredevil the series. Like that Daredevil's out the window. Nobody, who cares?
Or like the
Batman.
Deadpool in the X-Men one with his mouth all messed up, and then
with X-Men Origin Wolverine versus Deadpool.
I hated all that.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even name it. It should not be named.
Michael Keaton Batman to Christian Bale, two totally different universes.
Yeah.
So so to me that is a remake.
Yeah, I would agree that
is a remake. Yeah.
Now, what you're talking about with the Mandalorian of it all, that is a whole other thing. When you've got a thing like Star Wars,
isn't it?
No, it's.
I mean, it is the same. I know it's. I mean, I've watched it. I know it's its own little thing, but like. It's still in the Star Wars universe.
I
think it's more like a continuation or an exploration.
It's just a different story inside that universe. When you have something like Star Wars, which is as huge as it is, like
you could say that about Fallout then. I mean, the second? I guess it would be the second season. You could say that because like it's in the same universe as the video games, but yet they're not following it at all. It's like it's like canon, but not.
Yeah.
Right.
Or almost like The Witcher.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and I would say the MCU falls into this as well. Like, where you had other Marvel movies that obviously take place in different universes. Like, the MCU is now so huge with its TV series. There are tie-in comic books.
Yeah.
All that sort of stuff that it is now its own bigger thing. And DC is intending to do this as well, where their movies, TV shows, cartoons, video games, comic book... Well, not comic books, but... Like that, there's supposed to be a multimedia universe here, whereas like it's gonna be indefinable as like a reboot or whatever, outside of like that first go. So
Yeah.
okay, so I think we've narrowed down like what these terms are here. So what was the question again?
Actually, we're almost done with the podcast. I'm just gonna. I just kind of wanted to talk about.
I think that was an important.
No, I wanted to talk about kind of that. I wanted to kind of talk about like what they are, what are examples of ones that
we were talking about
were successes, what were failures,
what our thoughts are when we first hear about.
Yeah, like our initial like
for me,
feelings. It was like, hey, we're gonna make another one of these, or this one's coming back.
Now, so I made us define those so that I could.
Oh no, sorry.
Like,
you looked so.
I was like, oh my god.
I made us define that though so that I can say this, because when it comes to a revival, a continuation of something I'm a fan of, I'm
a fan of revivals.
excited. And now that can get tampered down the more comes out. You know, like the first trailer could be like, oh, I don't know about this. Or it could be like, absolutely, I'm so in. Like when Cobra Kai, their first trailer,
I was so excited.
I was like,
That was super
100%, I'm going to pay for YouTube Red.
Yeah.
And I paid it twice to watch it.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this month's about to go out and I want to watch the show again. I'm going to pay again. And then when season 2 came out, I was like, sign me up. But when it's a reboot, however, that one...
Like 90s show, like that 90s show or whatever?
No, that's a continuation.
So would that be a revival?
Yeah,
like
that would be,
later?
that'd be a
that'd be a
revival. But a reboot, whereas that one I'm a little more leery on. I'm like, okay, you have to stand on your own legs.
Yeah.
And where I feel like those fall apart a lot is when they try to stand on the laurels too much of what they're coming out of.
Yeah.
Now, a remake, that is when I am really at my most, my harshest, in my opinion. I'm like, all right,
I agree.
you got... But at the same time with a remake...
Mostly horror-wise, though. Like, when it comes to horror movies, I'm like, why?
At the end of the day, I really just kind of, like, let it stand on its own. Because I'm like, all right, you're saying, like, the other thing is out the window? Okay, I can always go back and love that. This does not kill that.
Remakes they inherently have a heavy dose, or they're going to inherently like bear a heavy dose of skepticism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're saying, oh, this thing that I love, you're gonna redo that?
Yeah.
You better be minding your P's and fucking Q's.
Even though the funny thing about that though is that like the remakes are the ones we should be the least harsh about, because like the reboot is like, all right, you know that old thing, it's out, it's a little out the window, we're playing in that sandbox, we're going to do our own thing now, and it's like, yeah, now you should be minding your P's and Q's, because you got continuity.
So in your opinion, what's better, reboots or sequels / prequels?
So a revival would, I think that would fall under revival. My opinion is the best one is usually a revival, because I think those have a higher success rate. Whereas reboots, I think too often they fall into that trap of going like leaning too hard on the old thing while saying like,
I think you risk a lot when you do a
new.
reboot.
Yeah,
you risk a lot.
Yeah, so like Star Wars. While we said that it's indefinable, I think you do have the episodic series, the Skywalker saga that we could lean on here. I would say Episode 7, bit of a reboot there.
Yeah,
and what does it do? It does. What now? I am a fan. I should say that I do love Episode 7, but it does do A New Hope all over again. We've lost video. I don't know how long we lost it. I think it's very recent, but yeah.
It's been one of these damn nights, I tell you.
No, I'm noting
as long as we still have audio
that's happened tonight, and I'm taking notes. I'm like, this is how I fix it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It still says I'm live though. That's why it still says we're live. So I don't know.
Okay. Audio listeners, sorry, we are running into some video problems.
We're gonna throw the live out. Let's just continue.
Ooh.
The podcast. We're gonna throw the live out. We
audio listeners, we really only like you.
Yeah.
I don't know why we do the video. They don't understand us like you do. Yeah. Do you have like $30 I can borrow until Friday?
All right. So, anyways,
says we're live.
yeah, who cares anymore? The live is a lost cause on this episode. We're gonna save it.
Of
we're
course
gonna save it in the
it's
audio.
my episode.
We're gonna save it in the audio.
Of course.
I'm gonna crudely draw us in paint.
I wanted reels. Like I wanted to have reels of me.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Saying
there's still the first half.
No, there isn't.
Please don't make me have to go halfway through this and find this section to cut out. Please,
No.
let's continue.
No, you're fine. That's fine. But
all right.
just irritated.
Because the least amount of editing I have to do, the happier the boy I am. So, once again, this is the catchphrase for this episode. What were we talking about? Oh, what's better? A revival, reboot, all that stuff. Yeah, I think revivals, continuations, they are better. Remakes, I don't think it's fair to hold a remake up to the standard of its original, because one, you're going to get one of two things. Either the filmmakers involved are really trying to do a genuine, like, love letter to this thing while restarting it, doing their own version of it, and they're either going to sink or swim on that, or they are doing a shot-for-shot remake, or just doing a watered-down version of the thing that came before.
Right.
Let's go with Friday the 13th. Because Chelsea brought up horror, and horror does do this all the time. So there was the first Friday the 13th movie. 100% night and day different thing from the Friday the 13th remake. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's fair to compare even Part 2, Friday the 13th Part 2, to this. They are 100% different movies, trying to tell a different Jason story. While ignoring what came before it. And so I think a lot of people shit on that movie because they're like, it's not like the other ones. Well, it's not supposed to be. It was. I don't think at any time did they come into this going like, we're going to make it just like the old ones. No, they made their own lore. And I loved it. The whole fucking tunnels under the ground thing, great. So you got stuff like that that are incomparable. And so I feel like remakes are completely outside of that argument of like, which is better. Because remakes are their own thing.
Which, speaking of horror in that aspect, Hell House LLC.
Okay.
The first one was great. The second and third
should not have been made.
Second and third sucked.
So this is just sequels.
Yeah,
okay.
But they are.
That happens a lot too, though.
They are doing a. What would it be? A revival-ish, a reboot, like this next one that they're putting out.
I should say a sequel should be a little.
There is a
while
difference.
A sequel is a continuation, I think it's different than a revival. In the fact that I feel like a revival is like, hey, this has been gone for 10 years, 20 years, something like a long span of time has gone by here, and you have not seen these characters, and now we're picking back up. Mm-hmm. Whereas a sequel is like, even if it comes out like 3 or 4 years later.
Well, I guess then this would just be more of like more just like a continuation or like a saga. Yeah. But I am so not excited for the fourth one.
So you would say sequels get you a little more on edge.
My thing is I have ADHD.
Same.
If you're like, oh, this movie is so great, and then the 15th one is even better, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not even gonna fucking bother watching the first if I'm gonna have to watch the 15th to get all the way through.
That's what Supernatural kind of did to me.
Like Star Wars.
Yeah.
I remember watching the Star Wars movies as a kid because there was 6, and I was like, okay, cool. And they're like, we got a 7th one. And I started watching the 7th one. They're like, oh, we also have all these TV shows in every single story. And I'm like,
oh, the spinoffs
I'm like,
kill me sometimes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it depends on how big of a fan. Like, if you are a diehard Star Wars fan and you've been dying for there to be more Star Wars.
That could sometimes be, like Star Wars, as an example, that's, because, there's a lot of people. There's a really big audience base that loves Star Wars. But, like, for other things like that, like that's a really tiny because sometimes the people who really don't like it are only those diehard fans.
Yeah.
So you get this little niche, but I also know that like Hollywood really banks off of nostalgia. Like But also,
especially these days.
But the way I was,
maybe the last like 10 or 15 years.
Yeah.
It's been a
the way I
huge
thought
play.
about it, because I was, like I said, I used to be against it. I was like, no, stop reinventing the wheel. Like, there's nothing original in Hollywood and nothing new under the sun. And I was really just a bitch. And I really was. But then I thought about it. I was like, wait. Like, I was born in 1990. Like, I'm in my 30s. The people who are in Hollywood doing the directing and filming stuff are my fucking generation.
Yeah. Well,
so no wonder, like,
we're starting to see a shift like that.
People want to redo things. Sometimes there's like racist stuff, like in a 70s show, that they maybe want to.
Well, because we are still in a world where like the outdated old men running these companies are like
dying.
Still out of touch, and they are still pushing and hammering down on the things they think still work.
When they don't.
And there's still no balance, because that's what you need. I think it comes down to balance. I don't think like shutter everything up. Like if it's been done, it's done. Leave it alone.
No, I don't think that way anymore. But I had that feeling initially when I was like younger.
If there's too much of it, it does kind of kill like the smaller creators' new IP from growing.
Which you said earlier, more is more.
Yeah.
But I think what we're starting to kind of get into is more is enough.
If I had one bag of shit and I added another bag of shit, that's more shit. Right. But do I need more shit?
Okay, I don't feel
or just
like
the one bag. Like
there are. I don't.
Just the one bag of shit.
I don't feel like if it was bad and everyone thought it was bad, they never bring it back.
No.
What?
They never bring it back. Like,
sure?
Okay, yeah. But
sure?
On occasion, there are things that are like a cult classic, and like you get this like weird thing where like just maybe they're going to remake it, and then somebody's going to try. Somebody's going to try, but that was an insanely popular show, though. See, what we're talking about is, like, nobody watched it, nobody liked it. As soon as it came out, we're never going to get another Baby's Day Out, you know? We're never going to get that. We're never going to get another Baby's Day Out. Why can't they just remake
Pete's Dragon and leave everything else alone?
They did remake Pete's
No,
Dragon.
I mean, again.
Again, that's a great example of two movies, like a remake that is completely uncomparable to the original. Because they really did their own thing with that.
One of the things
they didn't do it as well.
No.
But.
One of the things I still have, Vinny, you can actually speak to this for me. One of the things that I was wary about that was recent-ish, more like last year, was the Good Burger sequel.
Okay.
Yes. We did a commentary.
I still haven't seen it because I am terrified because Good Burger, anytime somebody asks me, hey, what's your favorite movie? My first answer is always Good Burger because I can recite that movie front to back.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I've watched that movie since I was a child and it is my favorite movie of all time. As somebody who is a mega fan, do you think I will be disappointed if I watch Good Burger 2?
I honestly don't think you won't be. Maybe with the plot.
Does it?
No.
I'll say does it?
Plot. Maybe with like the.
I'll say does it still retain that, or like turn of the century late 90s, early 2000s? Does it still maintain that Nickelodeon charm?
It is very. I mean, obviously it looks cleaner because your memory of seeing the movie was on a lesser.
Yeah, absolutely. It was on VHS.
Yeah. So it looks cleaner, it looks shinier and stuff. But I think they do a good job at staying faithful to the character archetypes. I think the plot is very much a Nickelodeon 90s movie.
Did they hire?
I think it's just unnecessary. Like you
think it's unnecessary? Okay,
it's unnecessary. Yeah. So you're not losing anything by not watching it, but you're not going to lose anything by watching it either.
Still had some of the same jokes. I had a great time. Yeah. We still had some of the same kind of those jokes. They hit the jokes. I mean, like it was a lot. It was really a big what's it called? Just like an audience like.
Fan service.
Yeah, I was gonna say jerk. I was gonna say circle jerk, but that's not what I wanted. I didn't want to say circle jerk.
Honestly,
because everyone's just like, yeah, this is a good movie.
sometimes sometimes fan service is necessary.
No,
I
agree.
I hate those people who are like literally anytime fan service happens, they're like, "Oh, fuck
fan service."
I love fan service.
Please,
Listen,
service me, the fan.
I buy the tickets. I buy the tickets.
We give you money.
Yeah.
So,
Especially.
But like so it is fan servicey in the way in a way, but also like I think you'll have a good time with
These
it.
chairs.
I think you
I know. I'm so sorry.
And you could go to patreon.com/subjecttochangeent and listen to our commentary track right afterwards.
We could go on subjecttochange.com/ENTfuck. I messed it up.
You completely forgot the URL.
You mean patreon.com
Oh,
/subject You mean patreon.com
This has been a disaster.
/subjecttochangeent?
I totally messed up.
Why is my why?
I totally messed up the point.
No,
Do we want to bring up
This
the
is
story
the-
now
no,
about the
this is-
sketch at
This
the,
is
at
the
the towards
best
the end?
episode.
Oh, yes!
Yeah, let's do it at the end.
Okay,
We'll
so-
do it at the end.
How much
This is the
longer do
best
we have of
episode.
this?
This will be the best
we have
episode.
It will
we're
not
at
be,
45
but-
minutes. So
We have about 15 sweet minutes.
So-
Thank God.
so
Let's get through this.
we recorded today.
No, we're gonna do it at the end. We're
Oh,
gonna talk about it at the
Yeah,
end.
we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So,
But we
Sorry,
already
sorry,
talked about we did talk a lot about the intellectual
My
property and stuff like that because you kind of like said what I was. I wanted to kind of talk about like the business of how nostalgia is sold in within different aspects. For example, I was looking at the I'm a data girl. I love data. I was looking at the top grossing films of 2022, and the first one on the list is Top Gun Maverick.
Okay.
I was like, which was actually a good movie.
Most
I didn't hate
people I have heard that have watched that movie absolutely loved it.
It really was good. It had fan service and stuff like that. And then the next one was Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Then Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, Avatar: Way of Water, Jurassic World Dominion. So like it was a lot of like sequels and a lot of like that's why I was like, man, it's like almost like formulaic.
Yeah.
In its way now, and so I was trying to I wanted to kind of to dive into that, like the repetitive advertising and like how Hollywood
Honestly,
Studios is feeding our demand for like the remanifested
Honestly,
culture.
I think again, we touched on this a little bit.
We did.
There is a bit of an oversaturation of most like a good healthy dose of I'd say a third of what the media is out there right now is playing off of some other property that has gone
It's
out.
in everything, clothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in all media, but
but the way it's packaged and sold to us, I don't think is any different than anything else. Honestly, if anything else, it like from the first trailer or something that'll come out, maybe it's a bit of remember this? Well, here we are now. So, but from that forward, it just kind of plays out all right, here's next week's episode, or
because I mean, I feel like that formula of nostalgia works, but then also feel like sometimes it doesn't. One of the examples I have is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Okay.
It was a big box office flop. But it was something that everyone thought was going to be...
What did that end up making in the end?
I don't...
a lot of people angry.
Yeah.
I loved it.
I don't know. I didn't see it.
The Flash, of course. The Flash, we can't because that is technically a...
It takes place within the DCEU, I guess.
And you know the one I'm talking about.
Okay. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Again, it's a thing that kind of exists in its own
So I mean, sometimes the formula works, and then sometimes it really doesn't.
I guess I'm not really understanding the question. Are we talking about the what the property is contained within, or how it's sold to us? Because how it's sold to us is totally different.
The former.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention the latter. But yeah,
Okay.
the former.
So I don't really see that as how it's being sold to us. That's just how it's given to us. And on that front, I think there was a problem for a little while there. There was a little bit of a span there where the trailers for a lot of things coming out were completely selling a different thing than what it was. But I think in recent years, and The Flash included, like they've completely abandoned that, and we are really getting representations of what we're about to see.
Yeah.
So the Flash trailer, at least everyone I saw was, this looks like it sucks, this looks like it sucks, this looks like it sucks, this Batman stuff's pretty cool, but this looks like this looks like it sucks. And what was the Flash movie? A whole lot of shit that sucked, and then the Batman stuff was pretty cool. I think, again, bringing up Cobra Kai, I feel like that trailer put up front exactly what we got.
I agree.
And I feel like everything's done a pretty good job of that, except for maybe the MCU. The MCU has done a really good job at like showing us a trailer that looks really cool, and then it's been hit or miss whether it is or not. And I'm not going to dig into the specifics of that, but yeah, that's the blanket. But yeah, I think there's been a lot of experimenting in recent years. I've seen, again, and this comes down to these like out of touch studio heads.
Yeah.
Seeing what they can get away with.
I
feel
feel like it's a good
how
thing
much they
to
can
remake
lie.
things sometimes.
Yeah,
I feel like you need to sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially with like, sometimes actors don't do very well. Sometimes they need new lighting or updated or modernized stuff. No one uses fax machines anymore, so they want to kind of connect to a audience that does, things like that. So or that uses like cell phones and uses printer, stuff like that. So like I totally get that. My last question.
Yeah, to make sure you subscribe to us on Patreon so we could get a fax machine.
Yeah, I mean like why don't you need one? As I sign into my AOL, I'll check my AOL.
I actually still use AOL.
Oh, get out of here! And my last question, and that's it, is.
Hey, you guys gonna be a merc later?
One of these days, I'm not gonna be interrupted. In the middle of a question that I've been asked on the podcast I was supposed to be head princess of.
Head princess.
Head princess.
Head princess.
I'm head princess. Okay, last one is there any shows that don't have reboots or remakes, or anything that would you like to see them? Is there anything that you can think of would you like to that you wish they would redo?
Well,
wish they'd remake or a spinoff or something.
We should do this in two because we started talking about properties that we really love. We should talk maybe about like revivals that have come out that we really do love. Because I don't feel like we've done that, but
well, that kind of goes into it too.
But to answer that question first. Let's see here.
Well, we're running out of time, so we had so many difficulties. I had a whole thing planned. Yeah. Then we had all these technical difficulties, so now I have to speed through, skip through things. So we're gonna do whatever we can.
We tried.
We can do it whatever we want.
I'm not gonna be at the next one.
We're
off sick.
We're off the rails. No. So okay, something that hasn't been, and in this day and age, that's kind of hard because they brought back
the formula.
Something that, now I was gonna say Batman the Animated Series, but we can't do that because the heart and soul of that show is now past. Which is, I would say, like, just to jump back a little bit there, one of the reasons why I'm usually jazzed up about something that is getting revived and continuing is because, like, these people are dying. These characters, these actors, these characters we love are leaving us, and so if not now, when there might not be a when. Yeah. So, so I was gonna say that. Although they are doing the team that did Batman the Animated Series is bringing out a new show in that style called Batman the Caped Crusader. It's gonna take place in the 40s. It's gonna be really cool, but that doesn't really count. That's a new show. Like that's a reboot.
A reboot.
I want him to remake Dumbo.
It's a remake.
Dumbo, like the cartoon one.
Oh,
That would be pretty cool.
No, I mean like
they did a Tim Burton one.
I rest my case.
You want them to remake it again?
I'll take 2 J.K. Rowlings for $500.
You know what I'd love for them to remake? Star Wars Episode 9. I know that's weird. But it was like, 7 led into 8 well enough, although 8 had a whole different tone. But they just completely abandoned everything. Like, apparently, most of that movie was being made up on the fly while they were making it. It's just really shoddy. It's got some moments in it that are cool or interesting, but like, God, you really got to toss that one out. Just go like, our bad. Let's try again.
Can we get a mulligan?
Look,
Can we bring silent films back?
theatrical versions of the original trilogy are completely gone. Like, you can't get them anywhere unless you already have, like, because they re-released them once on, like, a DVD set that I have. But, like, so unless you find the old VHS tapes of them or you get those DVDs, you can't get them. So, I'm just saying, you could just totally erase episode 9 and do it again. And I think we'd all be happy.
See?
Like, yeah, so, well, I think of another one because I was on the edge of another one before I thought of that.
Who's edging?
Adam, could you fill in while I edge?
Yeah. One of the ones that I was thinking, one of the ones that like popped into my head earlier was that I would equally be terrified, or not terrified, but insanely skeptical, but also very excited for, would be a Rocky Horror Picture Show reboot.
Oh,
they
did.
Or remake, yes.
Yeah, they did do that with what's her face as Rocky. But
it doesn't have like a totally different name or something.
don't
like a few years later, they did. It's kind of a sequel.
I think that it.
Rough.
I think that it would be really cool if they redid it. I don't know who would be able to.
Yeah, it was.
When? Huh?
Let's do the time warp again.
Well, obviously they need to remake that one.
It had Tim Curry as a criminologist, and then it had Laverne Cox as Frankenfurter. So that's what happened there. It was not good.
See, I guess that falls on me then. I think it would be cool.
Make it again though.
I think it would be cool if they just completely remade it, almost shot for shot. That would be pretty cool. But with a new, with like our generation, Susan Sarandon, like whoever that might be at this point. Sydney Sweeney. Like, I think that would be amazing, and then get our generations like Frankenfurter. Sydney Sweeney. Our generation's Tim Curry. Like, I think that it would be super, super cool because that was a lot of people's introduction to subculture, counterculture, cult classics.
Mm-hmm, right. I agree.
And I think that it deserves its due respect.
I agree.
So it would have to be done by somebody who was, first of all, gay. And it's like, okay, a straight man could not.
He could play as Brad, though.
Could play as Brad. Even then, Brad was a little gay, too.
A man could, like, a straight man couldn't have made Barbie, you know? It had to be either a woman or a gay guy.
Yeah.
I think a lot of, like, no.
I think that, or just,
yeah, there are some things that just white men aren't.
Yeah.
I'm gonna redo Roots. I think it's good.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm already working on one.
Okay. I think Django Unchained. We're working on that one.
I think we need to redo Sister Act and have Bobby Moynihan play
every part. Actually,
play as Whoopi Goldberg.
I would watch it in a heartbeat.
So a lot of the things that are coming to mind for me are like things like I think like one of the things that popped up into my head was Die Hard, and I really went down a rabbit hole of like, you can't recreate that. I mean, we did, but like ours is a very tongue-in-cheek thing. We did, but like officially with the big budget, like recasting all the actors with like new Hollywood faces and stuff, or even just like popular faces and stuff. There's no way you can redo that movie and reclaim the same magic. Now maybe you could remake it and try and make it your own, make it a different thing. Like you call it Die Hard, but it takes place in a different setting. You know, like your character's name isn't John McClane or whatever, but it's like it's Die Hard.
Actually, Al Powell and he's a star, and
you can write a new Die Hard.
Like Die Hard 6?
Like, I mean, obviously you can't make a sequel now. which really bummed me out because I had an amazing outline for a great Die Hard 6.
He did.
I heard
and
about
we can
this.
never do it now because Bruce Willis is out of the game.
We have AI.
But all right,
Have his daughter do it instead. I wanted his daughter to be. His
do 6. Yeah, I mean, if we're looking to reboot, same universe. Bring in different characters, but one legacy character. There's something there.
Because Reginald's still alive and he's still kicking.
You could argue, you could do it with Jai Courtney because Jai Courtney played his son. But I think something I would really love to see, which has been in the works but is in development hell or whatever, is either in a feature-length film form or a series, and I would fucking love it to be a series. Is Tank Girl.
Oh, I know.
That would be really cool.
Now, Lori Petty, Petty's version back in the day, I love it. It's a cult classic. Especially if you like the comics. Mm-hmm. While it shades off from the comics, it does have a lot of that feel. But as far as a structured movie, most people hate it because it's not a well-structured movie.
It was not.
But then again,
best.
it's not supposed to be.
No.
If you know Tank Girl,
right.
You know that. But I think Tank Girl would make an amazing episodic,
I think it'd be a lot of
half-hour
fun.
episodic thing. You give them a good budget.
I want Lori Petty to direct it because she's already directed stuff, so I'd like her to be the one to direct it.
I'm going to be honest.
And cast and film in Australia.
I'm going to be completely honest. No. I don't think I am familiar with Tank. I know what Tank Girl is. I don't think I've ever seen any piece of media delving into the story of it. I know what Tank Girl looks like.
It's a comic book.
And I know that there's a wolf man? Dog man?
No. He's a mutated kangaroo.
Yeah.
Booga.
Booga.
Yeah.
The booga.
Sorry.
Wow.
It's an Australian comic.
Right.
Although I'm pretty sure Alan Martin is from I can't remember.
He's not from Australia.
Alan Arkin?
Not Alan Arkin, no.
Oh.
Alan Tudyk.
But that's another reason why I was kind of excited that it was Margot Robbie who was involved with it because she was going to be going to be starring in it. It was supposed to be a movie that they're trying to get off the ground.
He's
but
British, by the way.
She's Australian. Okay, that's what I thought is that he's British. But she's Australian, so I would just love to see Margot Robbie with most of her head shaved and just patches of hair.
That would be.
It's a great comic book. It's so fun.
It is. It's a lot of fun.
But that would be my pick. It's I'll take a movie. I'll settle for a movie. But I think make a great episodic, almost anthological. You don't have to have the way these comics are laid out. It's so bonkers and off the wall that you don't have to have a through line narrative. Maybe you can delve into people's backstories and stuff. But I'm rambling.
I got what I wanted. I got my Fallout.
Yeah.
I wanted a Fallout series forever, and I got one. So
yeah, that's a great one. I didn't
brilliant.
even think about comic book properties.
Well, it's media.
Or video game.
It's media.
Yeah.
We want to make it burn.
As far as my favorite revivals that they have done, the things that they have continued with, absolutely Cobra Kai's top of that list. I've got a few, but Cobra Kai is 100% at the top of my list.
That's my number one example of of successful revival.
And I love all those movies. Obviously 3 and 4 take a dip in quality, but I enjoy those two, and that is nostalgia for me.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I think 1 and 2 stand on their own laurels, unbiasedly, unnostalgically. Those two are good movies. Mm-hmm. 3 and 4, however, my love for those are completely
I should reboot X-Files. I really loved that.
Oh, that would be.
I loved that so much. I watched every fucking episode of X-Files. X-Files.
Yeah, Cobra Kai talked about a show that doesn't each season just raises the stakes. It gets better and better as it goes.
Also, Twin Peaks is coming back. Twin Peaks: The Return. So.
Didn't they bring it back, or you mean a new season of?
It's called The Return. So it's literally Twin Peaks: The Return. So it's
yeah, but wasn't there a new Twin Peaks series? Was that a remake, or was that a continuation?
It would technically be a continuation.
Was that a revival? Okay. Because I knew that they had brought it back a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no! I mean they brought it back for like another season, and like they think they're gonna do like a big spinoff this time, like a big like. Because there's a lot of it is very dated.
Yeah.
Like very dated in a lot of things. Like it's very extremely slow, like to get through. Like the first like 3 or 4 episodes, you're like, we get it. I just wanna...
Which brings me to another point, really quick. If you want me to watch a show, and you're like, oh, you just have to get through the first 2 seasons. Fuck you. I am not watching the show.
No, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's just
no,
because they're hour long like episodes.
Like a couple of episodes, I can get.
Yeah, like so The Office. Like
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would argue like you could probably just skip the first season if you want to, but if you're dead set on starting from the beginning,
It's
you
slow.
only have to eat 6 episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like.
But also, like I said, they're hour long. That's what makes it. That's really what it is. It's their hour long episodes, but like when it gets closer, when it gets like along, you want it to be an hour because if you can't, like there's not really anywhere that they can really cut it off.
Yeah,
that's really gonna make it worth watching more
like
of.
To come from the anime side the anime spectrum, One Piece, I will not watch One Piece because they're like,
series?
You just have to watch 30 seasons
Yeah.
before you get into.
So you have to watch the cartoon before watching the live action.
You don't have to. No. I was talking about
read the manga.
the actual like anime.
Okay.
Not the live action.
anime.
I do want to watch the live action. I think that would be neat.
Fruits Basket took me forever
But
to do because that.
Everybody's like, oh, you have to watch the animated series or you have to read the manga, and I'm like, I do not have 40 years
I don't have
to
either.
put aside.
It's hard. It's hard to catch up.
How do we feel about like because this has been a big thing, a big topic.
Yeah.
Like
how do we feel about anime live action remakes? And the way they're doing that?
One Piece did pretty well.
I don't mind them. I don't as long as they don't take like the Dragon Ball route.
As long as it's not the last Airbender ever again.
Yeah.
I would still love. I would still love to see a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure live action remake.
Oh my god!
I don't know
so many
what
beautiful muscle
want
baddies
from them though, because it seems like at least with hardcore anime fans, like you can't win because they've done ones where like they've like, all right, we're gonna play in this world with these characters, but we're gonna do our own thing, and then they're like, wow, why would you strike from the source material? What the fuck are you doing? And then you have ones like Cowboy Bebop, which are like so close to the source material, almost verbatim, and they're like, this is boring. Why would I watch this? I can just watch the anime.
Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell.
I think another good one would be like Made in Abyss.
Ooh.
I want to see Outlaw Star.
I want to see Hellsing.
Ooh.
I want to see Alucard, baby.
Trigun.
Bash
is
the
an amazing live action.
Oh my god!
Who would play Bash?
But could you imagine could you imagine Neon Genesis Evangelion or like Gundam in like a kaiju level? Like,
I would kill.
Like blockbuster. That would be so cool. Sick.
That would be rad.
Like any sort of mech. Like any sort of mech live action would be so badass.
So cool. Especially now, I think that like I love the old like kaiju like mech stuff of the past, but like now technology is enhancing so quickly. Mm-hmm. Like I would love to see what they could do with it.
Yeah. Well, and speaking on that, like the way they've been, some things obviously, not everything, but there's been this new resurgence of like practical and digital working in tandem, which
as it should be,
because it's been a comment for a long time. Like, well, look at how good Jurassic Park looked. So, like, why do they have the excuse in 2004 for this movie to look so bad? Like, that's because they got what they did in Jurassic Park was practical with digital overlay.
Exactly.
And now that they've been doing that again, I mean, to come back to the Star Wars movies, look at how good
they look. So good.
Episode 7, everything in it looks so good, and it's because it's not all blue screen and tennis balls. It's like they put a guy in a suit and then they did some overlay with his eyes. They threw a little CG on the eyes to give him some life and stuff.
I know nostalgic tennis ball though. Gosh.
And also, episode 7 was shot on film, so maybe we get back to that too.
Nerd.
Looks different.
I don't have time for that.
Oh no, it'd be a shame if I just put a film fuzz overlay on a digital product.
No, it is different. It looks different.
It looks different.
It looks different.
And so does this.
I swear to God.
Hey, do these look different? Do these look different, Vinny?
For the audio listeners, he's flipping me off with both fingers.
Oh, the video's back on, but even though it's
Yeah, but this would be the...
All right, we're getting towards the end of the
Yeah.
So
we are, guys. That was really the only thing to talk about again.
One of the things we were going to talk about was this past Friday. We that was Friday the 16th. Sorry, 17th. Friday the 17th.
It was April 17th,
April 17th, 2024.
1942.
Oh wait, May.
April.
It was
May. We were filming a
sketch comedy.
We were filming a sketch where I Adam Lucas am being interviewed for the company. And without giving spoilers away, I asked for weapons.
As like a prerequisite.
As a prerequisite to join the company.
Yeah.
We were getting set up for our shots and everything, and I was holding the weapon. Can I say guns?
Yeah.
Okay, I was holding.
I asked bitch and fuck.
I asked for two
prop guns.
I asked for two guns, and I was sitting there while they were setting up, holding the prop guns, because I was like, "Oh, I've never got to mess with these before." We start shooting, and
about halfway through, it was about 2 hours into shooting.
Yeah.
The lights turn on in the other room. And there's a glass window separating us. So, like, all of a sudden the lights turn on. So I turn around and I'm looking. I'm not holding the guns at this point, which is very important.
Right.
I turn around and I was like, oh, that's weird. Because we were in the middle of a shot. And there's two security guards walking into the building.
One of them was an actual police officer, right? He just works for the campus. He had police on his chest and everything.
There's SSC police.
Yeah.
So
they are
one's
legitimate.
A security guard and one's
a police. Yeah. And they open up the door, or they knock on the door and open it up, and they're like, "Hey, is everything okay here?"
the way that their camera was. First of all, their camera has no sound.
Yeah.
So all they saw from like the angle of which the camera is placed on the ceiling, and all they saw was him waving guns around and my hands on the table on a table, my hands on the table. So they were like, "This is a hostage situation." You know, he was dressed in a white beater, and like, I hate that word, but that's what it's called, a white tank top, and
waving two guns around.
And they didn't know it was prop guns. And we reserved a spot to do this. Usually no one's in the building on weekends, and I work here, so I had a key.
And I'm
we didn't break in, but
because like you said, at this point you didn't in the sketch you don't have the guns.
Yeah.
They're sitting on my lap so I can bring them out later. And so like when I see him get to the door and he gets behind the door to where he can't see me, I put the guns into the seat
I'm
next to
sitting
me.
here like,
I do not
God.
want to be the guy who like sits back and there's two guns on my lap.
Yeah. Which I mean, like, obviously I would never have actual weapons in my place of employment. They were props. They
were props.
Prop guns, airsoft guns that we painted black for Sweded Die Hard.
Yeah.
And they didn't even have magazines.
But they were so nice and they were so understanding.
They were insanely sweet.
It's also really great to know that, like, if anything actually like happened, if there was a real emergency, that the Shawnee State Police and the security officers would be able to get here quick. If they actually care, they're watching the videos, on cameras. Like, it's really great. So I wanted to really give a shout out to Officer Morris and Security Officer Markham,
which we had worked with before. Because one of the first things I said when they came in was like, "I know you," Markham, it had worked with us, had owned the Retro Chill Zone, which we did a screening of Sweded Die Hard.
He's the one upstairs. He was the one upstairs.
Yeah. So we actually know and have worked with him before. So that
he knew what we did, but like also like
I think that leaned in our favor.
And Officer Morris knows me because I'm all the time calling them to unlock the doors for anytime we have anytime we have events and stuff. I'm always calling him and I'm all over campus all the time doing this. So but I scared him apparently. We scared everyone, but I'm really glad that they're so attentive and that they really care, and that they're diligent because if that really was a situation, and what if and what if no one was watching the cameras? The cameras don't work. Things like that. Things that you would just expect. They definitely do work, and they're actually they're great. So
one thing that I thought was really cool too was we were talking. I think it was Officer Morris.
Yeah.
He said that he was he used to be a Civil War reenactor.
So cool.
Both of them were, and he had actually been on one of my favorite bands, Miss May I. For Masses of a Dying Breed, their music video, his troupe got to be in that music video.
Yeah. So cool.
So it's so weird that we get to have all this And
I'm definitely gonna ask them to be in a future film. So
the funniest thing about this is that there are so many situations, especially during Sweded Die Hard and during Indiscriminate Way to Mondays, where we were like, this is the day we get the cops called on us. This is the day the cops show up. And it never happened. Well, all the places outdoors that we were running around with guns and knives covered in
fake guns,
fake blood,
fake blood,
fake
knives,
and knives covered in fake blood with cornstarch that gets out of hand. So there's white substance all over the place.
To be a resource filmmaker can sometimes be a little heady, but
in locations, we may or may not have had permission to be filming. Hard to say. Yeah. It's hard to say.
It's been so long ago that
definitely over the statute of limitations.
For all the things, this one very very small sketch, 2, maybe 3 minute sketch, if that. So ridiculous and innocuous and barely even involves the weapons.
I'm just glad. I'm glad the cameras work. I really am.
Yeah,
this is where it
was great.
But okay, hey, yeah.
But I want to give a shout out to them because they understood. They they saw, so they were watching the cameras, which is cool. And they're just one of the people here who keep us safe. So
So definitely be looking forward to that sketch coming out sometime soon.
Now you get it's already out, and then go find it.
Yeah, unless it's already out.
Adam's Interview.
Adam's Interview, yes, and it has a little call to another sketch that we're going to be shooting.
Yeah, get ready.
Yeah, this coming weekend.
Hopefully with less cops.
Less cops.
I don't believe there are any weapons in that.
No, there's none in this one.
You count these.
Yeah.
Those arms.
All right.
But no, thank you guys for being a part of this wacky, insanely technically inept
should I do the
podcast?
Should I do the follow all the things part?
You please. I don't even know if I have the energy to do
I was gonna say you don't seem like you have the energy for it.
I'm so done.
Guys, like this episode if you liked it. Subscribe if you loved it.
This is my first and last episode I'm doing, so.
You can find us on all the things, but most importantly, go to our website, subjecttochangeent.com, where you can find all of our things, like our Patreon, our social medias. We're on Instagram and Facebook. And we are, actually, I've been posting on X again, although I don't really pay attention to it. I'm posting on Threads, so we're there. You can see stuff if you want to.
We have our personal ones, too. Stop us.
Yeah. And remember, interacting is supporting. If there is
Yeah.
something as small as liking a post or sharing a post or commenting on a post, that helps us out so much. And what helps us out even more is supporting us on our Patreon. Patreon.com/subjecttochangeent. I got it.
Yeah, we're all waiting. We can look at each other.
Where you can sign up for $1 and see the video version of this podcast.
Just $1, guys.
$3, you're getting behind the scenes content. $5, you're getting our movies, our short films. And it just
$5.
gets
That's
better
like
and
a cup
better
of
from
coffee,
there.
really.
For the
The
price
top
of a
tier,
cup of
you are
coffee.
That's
considered
less than a shot of bourbon.
the top tier. You're considered a producer of our media, and that is legitimate for
Shout out to
IMDb. So,
Joel
hey,
Clark.
you want some IMDb?
Happy late birthday.
Well, he canceled.
It's okay.
He canceled.
No, that's okay though because he
But
was,
he did support us on that.
He supported us for a while
in that
through a lot of our
capacity
shows.
for quite some
He did.
time. So yeah, real awesome.
Sometimes life happens.
But yeah, all right, guys.
That's it.
Yeah,
I'm Adam.
I'm Chelsea.
and this time I'm Beef.
And we'll see you on the next one.
Give us your bones,
Give us your bones.
please.